as I truly believe that we are not really broken. We are mostly doing what we can with what we've got, what we experience throughout our life. And we're trying to do our best every day, hopefully, most of us.
If you don't know me yet, I'm Robin Thomas, founder of Living Well Connections, a healthy living community that supports, educates, and empowers us all to make healthy decisions toward a more balanced and fulfilling life. I have a background in medical research, and I love exploring the interplay of our physical, mental, and spiritual selves. Michaela Holchikova is the founder of Somatic Memories, a practice where she supports healing, mind-body reconnection, and integration through somatic work, breath, and awareness. Her work weaves together trauma and grief-informed care, deep respect for each client's story, and a guidance toward change. It's so nice to have you here, Michaela. I've been looking forward to this talk for a long time. It's something I think is well needed in this world today, very well needed. It's somatic. I said healing at first, and you said it's not really just healing. It's just your guide to caring for ourselves, right?
Yes. Yes. Thank you. Thank you, Robin, for having me here today. Yes, I'm quite careful with the word healing, as I truly believe that we are not really broken. We are mostly doing what we can with what we've got, what we experience throughout our life. And we're trying to do our best every day, hopefully, most of us. And yeah, I find a great pleasure and great meaning in the work I do. So it's an honor to share a little bit of my wisdom with you.
How lovely. How lovely. And we appreciate it very much. We do. We do. I'd like a little bit, as much as you're comfortable in, is how did you get into this work?
Mm-hmm. I like to start my story with the part where I became a doula almost 15 years ago now. But I would say it dates way back, because I myself am a trauma survivor. And as I was going through the life, I was obviously going through a lot of therapy, a lot of self-work, a lot of self-improvement. But it truly changed when I became a doula, because I started seeing how our bodies are showing what's been hidden underneath. Because we got so brilliant in talking through our pain, through our trauma, through our grief, but we somehow started bypassing the body. And when you see, or when you experience going through a labor, there is no hiding. Everything's opening. Everything's opening in that moment. And everything just comes out in any way, shape, and form imaginable. So when I started working as a doula, I realized that people are opening in all the layers through that process. And that led me on this journey, actually, to where I started exploring the connection between the body, between the mind, between the energy, because they work in synergy. We are not these little pieces. We are
Right.
layered beings, and we are all these layers together. We cannot divide them. So that's how I started.
Wow. Yes. Those guides. And we don't think about that enough.
No.
You know, how our emotions and our mind, you know, how all this interconnects.
Yes.
Can you dig a little bit deeper on this interconnection of our three guides?
Yes. Yes. I firmly believe that we are guided by all three brains we have in our bodies. And those brains are our head brain, which is our mind. It tends to be the strongest in this time and space we are living in. Then our heart brain, which are our emotions, what we feel, and our gut brain, which is our intuition. And I find intuition being a tricky one, because I believe it should be the strongest one. It should be the one we follow the most. Yet, sometimes we are having a hard time distinguishing between intuition and reactivity. When we are calling something intuition, when it's just our old experience talking through some patterns, through some behavior that helped us in the past, but maybe it's the time to connect all three brains and give them all the same weight, the same voice, because one shouldn't be talking over the other two. So it's still something that keeps amazing me, how these brains are working, and hopefully one day we will learn to use them all.
I have a personal experience with that. It's very interesting. I'm a trained scientist. I want to say as trained as a scientist, and very analytical. You know, as scientists, you know, the training you get, it's just all mind. You know, you want the facts, and you want this, that, and the other. And so I had gotten pretty much, that was the strongest part for me. Emotions probably as a child. I have a thing as a child before I got that training. But lately I've been developing and working with that intuition, with that gut sense. And every time I make a decision, I ask it.
Yeah.
I ask it, okay, so, or I sense that feeling, maybe a feeling of, oh, I don't know if this is right or not, like kind of thing. And so but I'm starting to listen to it.
Yeah.
So I'm hopefully doing what you're saying. I'm hopefully working towards that at my young age. But I do see the difference, because for the longest time as an adult, I focused on the facts of what I saw were the facts.
Yes.
And that did not always do well.
I think, you know, I wish we wouldn't be bypassing either of those, because obviously you want to stay reasonable. You still want data. You still want facts. Then what are the facts? Are they objective? Are they subjective?
Yeah.
Who is delivering the facts? You know, that there is a nuance in the facts. Then emotions. Should you follow your emotions? They are very valuable as messengers, but also they shouldn't be dragging you through the pits of despair or whatever is happening for the past 90 seconds. It's like, oh my goodness, this is who I am. No, the
I love
feeling, the emotion. It's just the messenger. You unpick the message, you read it, and you're like, well, do I act on this emotion or do I not? And you get to decide. It's just a messenger. It's not who you are. It's a situation. It's not the identity. And same goes for the intuition. We already touched on it. Sometimes we genuinely feel that the situation will do us no good, and we can unpack the facts later. And sometimes we can stop, we can take a little pause and try to recognize if we are genuinely working with the intuition or if it's something resurfacing from the past. It's like, I cannot go to HEB because one day, someone ran over my feet with their cart, and it's just what is happening in HEB. It's a good experience. It's important. You will know better next time before you get into someone's way, but it's not a rule. It's just something that happened, and it's just the reactivity. So it depends. It's very nuanced. So yes to data, but yes to the other two.
The other two, all three.
Yeah.
And trying to balance. Try the balance. Yeah.
Balance.
You said a little while ago, before we got online,
yes,
why you don't have to start where trauma presents itself.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Help us understand that. It's like, well, I could say any kind of things, but tell us what you mean by saying you don't have to start where trauma presents itself.
Yes. So I already touched on that a little bit, and I'm going to go from the beginning of my story, where when I became a doula and when I became a somatic coach, I realized that my niche became women, mostly women with trauma stored in their pelvic floor. So we are talking here medical abuse, sexual abuse. We are talking a lot of baggage stored in our pelvis area. And when you're working with people who carry their pain in their center, sometimes they just cannot bring themselves to even acknowledge that part of their body. They cannot touch it, they cannot see it, they don't think about it, it doesn't exist. It's like a black hole in the middle of their body. They're like, no, I'm not going there. This is not something I'm willing to do ever again. This is where I begin. This is where I end. This doesn't exist. And they just do not feel comfortable meeting that part. And I am very comfortable with taking a detour when I'm working with such clients, because as I mentioned before, I believe that our whole body and all the layers work in synergy. And I also believe that we have kind of floors in our bodies, and I work with feet floor, with pelvic floor, with diaphragm, and with our throat and the neck, the jaw. And all of these floors are providing support to our body. And if someone doesn't feel comfortable to step into the second floor, into their pelvic floor, I start from the feet. Why not?
Why not? Yeah.
Why not? You can start with where you are standing in your life. Where are you going?
Mm-hmm.
How flexible are you on your feet? Are you stuck in time and space? how do you make it mobile again? What brings you joy? Where do you go when you are looking for joy? And I start with feet. It's fine. The feet are continuation of our legs. So if you start from your feet, it translates to the pelvis. Either way, you cannot stop it. Sorry, if you wanted to, you will not. It's just, they are connected.
But it's a way to have a beginning.
It's a beginning. And I like starting with the feet. But if I have someone who doesn't want to go either to the pelvis area or to the feet, I go with the jaw. I go with talking, with humming, with screaming into the wall. You can start with screaming into the wall. You can start regulating your nervous system through singing. Oh my gosh. I think we are so funny in a way where we love to overcomplicate things for ourselves. Because if someone comes to me and is just about to begin their healing journey, I would tell them, well, start dancing, start singing. Do it in your closet. No one will see you. It's a safe space. It's contained. It will be just you, your feelings, your voice, your body, your movement. Just get back to yourself.
So if someone's uncomfortable singing, how about humming?
Humming is beautiful.
Beautiful. Yeah.
I think it's even better because it's giving you that vibration. And when you start humming, and when you are willing to touch your heart and maybe your lower belly, and you start humming, oh my gosh.
That's like my mother. One of the best memories I have of my mother, who passed away, a year and a half ago, but she was 99. So
what a blessed age!
But she hummed. She was very musical.
Yes,
music was very important to her. And when she was walking around the house doing chores, she was always humming.
Yes.
And I could tell even at the very end, if she started humming, she was okay.
Yes. Right. And I think it's also something we carry with ourselves from the very young age, because I kind of believe that majority of our moms were singing or humming when we were in their bellies. And then when they were soothing us, right? So I think that's such a deep imprint for us that when we start humming for ourselves, it brings us back to that somatic memory where we were little children and we were held and we were safe and we were loved, and we can channel it back. We can do it for ourselves. So when you start humming, and oh my gosh, if you even hug yourself or just, allow that sound to be here with you, that's magnificent. It's just so beautiful.
Lovely.
Yes.
So how you actually already started talking about this, because you're talking about if you can't handle your middle part of your body,
yes,
your pelvic region,
yes,
go to the feet or go to the throat. So that's sort of how to begin. So these are long-standing patterns as emotions and patterns of reactions to what's happened to us, whether it's happening to us now currently or happened to us in the long past. How do you begin? Is this how you begin rewriting those patterns? When you're starting with different parts of the body and movements?
Yes. I always start with the story, because Every person has a story. And I deeply cherish the trust people are showing me through sharing their stories with me. I honestly feel honored by that. And as they are sharing their stories, they are usually also sharing knowingly or unknowingly where the emotions or experiences got trapped or stored.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where all the layers of our being come in, because you are listening to the story and you are also watching the body. If the story and the body are telling the same story, because sometimes there is no congruence. And if there's no congruence between the words and the body language, I know that we are dealing with something stored inside of the nervous system, inside of the body, what you will, whatever you like to call it. And when someone comes to me with the intention to heal or change their patterns or relearn something from their past, rewrite the future, I always start with acknowledging the story and acknowledging where the people are. Because once again, I don't think we are inherently broken. Yes, we've been shaped, we've been like molded by experiences and by our life, but it doesn't make us broken or wrong or unlovable or unacceptable. So first thing for me is always to acknowledge that the person is whole as is. And you wouldn't believe how hard it is for some people to just be with themselves as they are. Like, just imagine, like, you come to me and you are telling me, well, I keep repeating this mistake and I don't like this about myself. And I'll tell you, great. Can you just sit with that for a moment? Oh my goodness. So uncomfortable. It's like, yeah, sure, I'll be with that. And oh yes. Big one. People truly do not like themselves. And that's so...
I was going to say, we're our own worst critic.
We are. And to some extent, it's good. We should be striving to get better. Absolutely, yes, please. But we shouldn't hate ourselves into change. We should be like...
you can't get better if you're putting all your energy into disliking what you're doing,
Yes.
Not liking yourself.
Right?
Not loving yourself.
Oh my goodness. I agree wholeheartedly. Because yes, it's one thing to acknowledge your shortcomings. Yes, please. Yes, please. But also, please, let's acknowledge that we have a power to change that, and we deserve to love ourselves. Please, just start treating yourself as someone whom you really like. Can we do that? I mean, it's a hard one for so many people.
It's a hard one, and what a wonderful guide you are.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Just to guide people through this.
Yes.
To guide people through this. And how is the best way? What is your favorite way? If someone's watching this and they want to reach out to you, where's the best place for them to do that?
I think the very best way is to reach out via email. Tell me a little bit about your story, what your intention is, what would you like to work on, and what your expectations are. Because I do not have one approach fits all program.
Yeah, you work at individual. Do you have a way through your website that people can reach out to you, email you through your website?
Of course, yes. I do have a website. I have a website, somaticmemories.com. And all my contact info is there. And obviously, I have social media as requested by Lord Business nowadays.
Well, I'll make sure I put that information in the show notes.
I have Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, what you will. So
okay, it's nice to have a choice, because people we're reaching out to have their own, their own favorites.
Obviously, yes. I know we all have favorites, right? It's like, no, not for me, thank you. As we should. We should know what we like.
As we should. Well, this has been a delight. Thank you so much.
It was my
pleasure. I really look forward to getting to know you even more and collaborating with you more.
Thank you. Thank you, Robin. It was such a pleasure, and I really cherish the time we had together. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for joining me at my Over 40 and Fabulous podcast. If this podcast has been helpful for you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this episode with those in your life who need to hear this empowering message. And don't forget to download my free gift, 5 Ways to Get Started with Healthy Habits Without Getting Overwhelmed. This free guide leads you through 5 small steps that will allow you to ease into healthy habits until they become a natural part of your life. It's wonderful if you're just not quite sure how to get started. To get this helpful guide, go to robinthomas.biz/community support, and I will put it in the show notes too. Drop in your email and it will arrive straight to your inbox. Bye for now, and I'll see you